Introduction of On the Origin of Species book summary. Ever wondered how all life on Earth began? In this book summary, you'll discover the secrets behind one of science's most important works, Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species. Learn how simple ideas about natural selection changed our view of life, evolution, and survival. You'll see how species adapt and why these ideas still matter today. We'll also explore how modern science, with advances in genetics and new fossil finds, fills in the gaps of Darwin's original work. This summary breaks down complex ideas into simple steps you can easily understand. Get ready to see the natural world in a new light and learn how these insights shape our lives. Listen till the end of the book summary. This video, including its audio and script, is protected by copyright. Unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or piracy is strictly prohibited and may result in legal action. Welcome to Nature and Environment English Book Summary, Episode 4. In this episode, we'll explore 1859 published book On the Origin of Species, written by Charles Darwin. The full title of the book is On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. Chapter 1 of On the Origin of Species book summary. Domestication magic. Imagine turning a wild animal into a beloved pet or a unique work of art. Domestic breeds come from careful human choices. Over many years, people have picked certain traits to build the animals we see today. The book explains that all these breeds share a common ancestor. For example, all types of pigeons, like the English carrier pigeon with its long neck and the Brunner pouter with its big puffy breast, come from the wild rock pigeon. Humans started this work long ago during the late Pleistocene. We learned how to shape animals by selecting specific traits. One famous breeder, Sir John Sebright, once said he could make a pigeon with any color or pattern in just 3 years. He used a process called selection. This means he picked birds with the best features and bred them. Over generations, the traits became stronger. The result is a group of animals that look very different from their wild ancestors. The same method works with dogs. Breeders start with mixed breeds and choose those with the shortest noses. They mate these dogs and then pick the offspring that show the same feature. This process repeats over many generations. Slowly, the pups develop the short, wrinkly noses that make pugs so special. Sometimes, breeders make amazing changes without even trying. Think of a pigeon breeder who always picks birds with big tails. Over time, the tailbones change too. This unexpected shift turned the birds into fantail pigeons, with tails that look a lot like a peacock's. The story of domestic breeds is full of surprises. It shows how patient human choices can create creatures full of wonder and beauty. Chapter 2 of On the Origin of Species book summary. Nature's secret process. Imagine nature acting like a careful breeder. It picks and passes on the best traits. Over many generations, these traits can form new species. This process is called natural selection. Nature chooses traits that help organisms survive. Animals, plants, and even tiny insects work hard to live in the wild. Consider the horses, zebras, and donkeys. They all belong to the genus Equus. They come from one common ancestor. Over time, nature made choices that created differences between them. These differences helped each survive in their own way. Nature decided which ones could live and which ones could not. Life in the wild is tough. Every creature competes for food and shelter. They must also avoid predators and cope with a changing environment. Many do not get the chance to reproduce. Think of a bird fighting for food. If one bird has a harder beak than its brothers, it can do more than just peck at the ground. It can peck at tree bark and find hidden insects. This gives the bird a secret advantage. The bird survives and later has babies. Its offspring inherit the hard beak. Soon more birds have this trait. In time, the group of birds turns into a new species. A woodpecker is a perfect example of this change. This idea is known as descent with modification. Nature uses small changes to make big differences. Over many years, these small changes lead to the many species we see today. Nature, like a patient artist, creates and shapes life. It is a powerful process that shows us how life adapts and thrives. Stay with us to explore more about nature's amazing secrets. Chapter 3 of The Origin of Species book summary. Wild choices. Imagine a world where survival is not just about being tough, but also about being attractive. In nature, there is more than one way to win. Nature chooses traits that help animals stay alive. It also picks traits that make them attractive to mates. This is the power of sexual selection. Male animals often compete for the chance to mate. They fight, show off, or display special features to win a female's heart. For example, think of turkeys. Female turkeys may prefer to mate with males that have the droopiest skin around their necks. Over time, this trait becomes more common. Soon, male turkeys grow the wattle that we now see. This change is driven by the desire to attract a mate, but survival does not stop with attraction. Animals must also learn to live in new places. This is where diversification comes into play. As populations grow, not all animals can live in the same space. They must find new areas and different food sources to survive. Imagine a group of meat-eating quadrupeds. Long ago, they all belonged to one species. With time, some moved to marshlands while others ventured into forests. They adapted to their new homes and changed. Those that moved to the water-rich areas turned into what we now know as otters. Others that climbed the trees evolved into modern sloths. Each change gave them a better chance to live. However, new species bring new challenges. They face fresh competition for food and shelter. In the next part, we will see how fierce these struggles can get. Stay with us to learn more about the wild choices nature makes every day. Chapter 4 of On the Origin of Species book summary. Nature's balance. Imagine a world where every living thing fights to stay alive. In nature, everything is connected in a delicate dance of survival. Each plant, insect, and animal has a role to play. This balance keeps populations in check. When one group grows too big, nature steps in to even things out. Think of a young plant trying to grow in crowded soil. It faces many obstacles. Other plants block the sunlight, and they take away the nutrients. Without enough light and food, this little seedling struggles to survive. Nature does the same for animals. Take rabbits, for example. When their numbers rise, foxes have more food to eat, and with extra food, the foxes have more babies. Soon, more foxes hunt the rabbits, and the rabbit numbers shrink. This cycle shows how one species can control another. Every small creature counts in this process. Tiny changes can tip the scale between life and death. The history of life can be seen as a giant tree. Each new species is like a small twig fighting to grow. Some twigs become strong branches over time. These branches then give birth to even more twigs. But many twigs never grow into branches at all. They disappear and leave no trace. This simple idea explains how nature shapes the world. Survival is not just about strength. It is also about fitting into the balance of life. When species do not adapt, they may vanish completely. This natural selection makes sure that only the best traits survive. It is a constant battle where every creature has a chance to shine or fade away. Stick around to explore more about this amazing world and learn how even the smallest living things help create the big picture of life. Chapter 5 of On the Origin of Species book summary. Nature's variations. Look closely at the world around you and notice the many wonders of nature. Every living thing shows its own twist. Variation arises from many processes. Nature creates different shapes and sizes for features like huge beaks and webbed feet. Competition helps bring these changes, but many other forces add to this variety too. Living conditions play a big part in shaping species. Take the African mammoth as an example. Long ago, during the Ice Age, Africa was a snowy tundra. The mammoth's thick fur helped it survive the cold. When the climate warmed and the ice melted, thick fur became a problem. Having less hair became an advantage. Over time, natural selection turned the African mammoth into the less hairy southern mammoth. Variation can also come from the use or disuse of body parts. The ancestor of the modern ostrich might have chosen places that were safer, with strong legs rather than the ability to fly. With time, natural selection made the ostrich a powerful runner, with big legs and small useless wings. Small changes at the start of life can make a big difference. A tree grows from a seed and an animal begins as an embryo. In these early stages, changes in one part often affect others. This can be seen with armadillos. They have strange skin and even stranger teeth because of a process known as the correlation of growth. Closely related species often share similar traits. Many horses show zebra-like stripes on their legs, while some carry donkey-like stripes on their shoulders. This mix of features comes from a common ancestor. Stick around to learn more about how nature makes these remarkable variations and creates the diverse world we see today. Chapter 6 of On the Origin of Species book summary. Nature's Puzzle. Have you ever wondered how animals change over time? Darwin's idea of descent with modification shows us that life on Earth is like a big puzzle. Many people have doubts. They ask why we do not see every missing link or all the tiny steps between old species and new ones. But there is a simple reason for that. Nature works slowly. At any time, only a few species stand out. Others change quietly and then vanish. Take the woodpecker for example. We see this bird today. We do not see all its past forms roaming around. Natural selection is a patient process. As new, better creatures come along, the old ones fade away. This is why we see only a small piece of the whole story. Look at the human eye. It is very complex now. Even tiny creatures like crustaceans show small changes in their eyes. Over time, these small changes add up. This is how something as amazing as the human eye can develop. Consider the bat. It might have started as a simple land animal. Gradually, natural selection shaped it into the agile flyer we know today. When we look at squirrels and flying lemurs, we can imagine the slow changes that led to bats. Even parts of animals that seem useless can have a story. The long tail of the giraffe may have once helped its ancestors swat dangerous flies. In the past, this feature was a lifesaver. Today, the giraffe still has that tail, even though it might not be needed. These ideas remind us that nature is full of surprises. The small steps and quiet changes build the amazing diversity of life we see in the world today. Stay with us as we explore more of these natural wonders. Chapter 7 of On the Origin of Species book summary. Evolution's Hidden Wonders. Imagine a process that shapes not only how animals look but also how they act. This idea is called descent with modification. It shows how nature changes creatures over many generations. In the book, we learn that this process is behind both physical traits and natural instincts. Honeybees, for instance, build perfect hexagon cells in their hives. Birds make strong, safe nests. These actions are not random. They help these creatures survive and thrive. Every time birds build a better nest, their young have a higher chance of surviving. Over time, this instinct becomes more common in bird families. Nature picks the best traits to pass on. The same idea helps us understand why different species rarely produce fertile offspring when they cross. For example, horses and donkeys mate to produce mules. Mules exist, but they rarely have young. This is not a plan set by nature, but instead, it is a side effect of choosing traits that boost survival. Even creatures like dogs and cats show this change. They came from a common ancestor long ago. But as they evolved, their differences grew. Their mating systems became too different. This is why dogs and cats cannot mate successfully today. Meanwhile, some plants can crossbreed and still produce fertile offspring. Certain types of dianthus, like carnations, mix their traits without losing the ability to reproduce. This idea makes us see the natural world in a new light. It explains how instincts form and why some crosses end in sterility. The book opens up a view into the hidden wonders of evolution. Stick around as we explore how nature continuously shapes life in surprising ways. Chapter 8 of On the Origin of Species book summary: Fossils and Life Story. Imagine reading a book with many missing pages. The fossil record is like that book. We do not have every page, but we still get a good idea of the story. The book shows us that species changed over time. It supports the theory of descent with modification. Many creatures slowly changed to become new species. Fossils help us see this change. We have not found all the transitional species. This is because the fossil record is incomplete. Many rocks that may hold fossils have not been explored yet. Also, many animals cannot be fossilized. Only animals with bones or shells have a chance. They must be buried quickly under thick layers of sediment underwater. This protects their remains from decay. That is why we see only a few fossils from animals that lived on land. Paleontologists work hard to put these clues together. They study the patterns in the fossil record. They see that changes in species happen slowly. Sometimes the change is faster, like in land animals. Land animals face many challenges and they deal with changing seasons, droughts, rains, wildfires, and ice ages. The fossil record also shows that once a species disappears, it never comes back. The dodo bird is a clear example. Its ancestor is gone forever. With no living base, the species could not reappear. Even with the missing pages, the fossil book tells us a powerful story of change and survival. This story makes us appreciate the slow, careful work of natural selection. Stay with us as we uncover more secrets about how life on Earth has changed over time. Chapter 9 of On the Origin of Species book summary: Species on the Move. Have you ever wondered why different parts of the world have such unique animals? Natural selection can explain this amazing pattern. The way life spreads around the planet follows some simple rules. First, even if two places have the same living conditions, they might not share the same species. For example, parts of South America and Australia look alike, yet the emu lives only in Australia. Second, physical barriers can keep species apart. Think of the ocean between Africa and Australia. These natural barriers stop many species from crossing over. On the other hand, when land connects two areas, the species there tend to be more similar. Central and South America show us this very well. Third, species that live on the same continent often look and act alike. Look at the agouti and the vizcacha in South America. They are rodents that have some features in common with European rabbits and hares, yet they also have special traits that fit their local habitat. Natural selection and migration work hand in hand. Over many generations, species spread into new areas. As they settle into different parts of the world, they slowly change. These changes can lead to new features that help them survive in their new homes. For example, the Australian emu spread across its continent, but it could not fly over the ocean to reach new lands. In contrast, birds that can fly are excellent travelers. They even help other species move around. Some clams attach themselves to the feet of ducks. When the duck flies away, the clams get a free ride. Seeds of water plants often travel with mud stuck to birds. This is nature's way of sharing life across the globe. Chapter 10 of On the Origin of Species book summary: Shared Beginnings. Imagine looking at a human hand, a mole's paw, and a bat's wing. They seem very different at first glance, but if you look closer, you see that they share a very similar bone structure. This is no accident. It shows that these creatures come from a common ancestor. Scientists group animals into classes based on shared features. For example, any animal with mammary glands is placed in the class Mammalia. That makes them mammals. Take the common mouse as an example. If a mammal has incisors that grow continuously in both jaws, it belongs to the order Rodentia and is called a rodent. When we compare animals in the same class, the similarities stand out. Humans, moles, and bats are all mammals. Their basic hand structure is almost the same. Over time, nature made small changes. These changes gave humans hands that can grab, moles' paws that are perfect for digging, and bat wings that help with flying. The idea of descent with modification explains these similarities. It tells us that over countless generations, a common ancestor's body plan was slowly altered to suit different needs. As creatures moved to new places, nature favored useful changes. Each species became better suited for its environment. This process of natural selection shows us how life adapts and changes over time. Some people who believe in creationism struggle to explain these shared traits. They have to say that a creator chose to make similar species. That idea is much less clear. When we see the bone structure of a human, a mole, and a bat, the evidence points to evolution. It shows that life on Earth has come from common beginnings, modified slowly over time. Stay with us as we explore more about how nature shapes the creatures around us. Conclusion of On the Origin of Species book summary. Thanks for watching our summary of this book about Darwin's groundbreaking ideas. In this video, you learn that Darwin changed the way we think about how life began on Earth. Instead of believing that God created each species exactly as they are, Darwin showed us that all species come from common ancestors and change over time. This idea opened a new door for understanding how life evolves and adapts. We also discussed how this new way of thinking has influenced science and changed our view of the natural world. By challenging old beliefs, Darwin's theory helps us see that life is not fixed but always growing and changing. This book reminds us to be curious and open to new ideas, even when they seem very different from what we have been taught. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Your thoughts and feedback are always welcome, so please leave a comment or writing if you enjoyed the video. Listen to the other book summary. Disclaimer, please check the description. Any digital copy of this content that is shared through piracy or downloaded without permission or uploaded on any online social media platform will be considered a clear violation of copyright law. Piracy is a serious offense and strict legal action will be taken against it. Additionally, copyright infringement may result in a strike against your YouTube channel or page, and it could even be deleted. Therefore, please do not engage in piracy or support it. This content has been created based on the references from the mentioned book. However, it may contain some unintentional errors or inconsistencies due to human or mechanical mistakes. If you notice any mistakes or inconsistencies, please accept our apologies and inform us through a comment or message. If you enjoy this book summary and wish to gain complete knowledge of the book, then please consider purchasing the book from an online or offline bookstore and reading it. Thank you.